Okay, I've been live all week this week, but today we are live, so there's that. And we're going to get started in a second here. I have to get a few things arranged, and once I do, we will kick things off. Let me go live on Amazon here. Get that going, and bear with me here, folks. Okay, hit that 2 on, and then I just got to create one other thing, and then we'll get started. So yeah, so today I've been behind on my smartphones, so I thought that we would open up some smartphones here and go from there. And two of these phones are rather like kind of unique and interesting. So, and this one I got in for another project that's coming up. So I bought these two, and this one's on loan from Motorola and Lenovo. We're kind of one and the same, right? They're like one and the same. All right, so let's get our cameras positioned here. I got to get my chat thing going, and then we can get started. So let's say hello to some friends first. We have Patrick Chang is here. William Wilkinson is here. All the usuals are here. Nick Versopa, NC Strev. Dava is here. Dava says it's been a long time. Yeah, it's good to see you again. Romeric is here as usual. Klee is here. And Skulls is asking, does it have micro SD? Which one? Because we got 3 different ones we're going to look at. Now, one of these, this one you can't buy yet. These folks, Titan, have these really different smartphones. Like they make these tiny phones, like they're super tiny. And they've got one big one called the Titan, which looks like a huge BlackBerry. Now this one is a smaller one that looks like a BlackBerry. And this is the one that just finished up crowdfunding. And these run Android. And this one is their tiny one called the Jelly 2, which is the one that we'll have also unboxed, which is like the smallest, I think it's the smallest fully functional smartphone on the market. So we'll see what they've got. But we will definitely look and see which ones of these have micro SD. I think of the 3 here, this one probably will have that. We'll find out. Danielle Jones is here. Hello. David Langley is here. Jolt Dude is here. All the Lux says, excited for the tiny ones. Yeah, I like the tiny ones too. I used to have this tiny Vader phone, the Motorola Vader phone. I'll show you a picture of it in a minute. BB Garnett is here, and Martin Paolini is here. All right, so we are ready to go. So let's do, I'm actually curious to see what this one looks like first, because when I got in the original one, this is the Titan, which again, you can't buy yet. When I got in the original Titan, it was enormous. It was like so much larger than I thought it should be. But people really liked it because they like Android and they also like the BlackBerry style keyboard, and that one had both. So this one, oh, that's really nice. Check it out. Yeah, this is nice. And it's pretty rugged too. I don't have all the specs on this one. Look at that. That is slick. And it's got a screen protector with a big bubble in it. I'm going to take that off, I think. Yeah, it's got the screen protector already attached, and there's a huge bubble on mine. So I'm gonna peel the whole thing off if I can. I'll get to that in a little bit. That's disappointing. Let's see if it's got any juice in it. Yeah, this one just came in. Isn't this nice? So it's got like that BlackBerry look to it. It is really nicely built. Oh, Clay. Sorry, Clay. I mean Clay. So, Claysil. Sorry, Clay. And Jolt Dude had an LG flip phone. Skulls had the Milestone. Grayson is here. Hello, Grayson. Yeah, this is nice. I could actually like get into this phone. Look at how nice this is. It's metal too. It's got like this metal here. It's like it is like a solid brick, which is not a criticism. Because I thought the other one was just way too big. And I guess it's up to you to decide whether or not you like the keyboard or not, right? And I don't have a mobile network for it to connect to, so we're going to skip that. So let me get it on my Wi-Fi and set it up real quick. So yeah, then you can use the keyboard, or you can use and the numbers are a little weird on it. So the number pad on this, it's got, like, you have to put it into number mode, and then you can kind of do that. So I just did that, and then I guess that does, I don't know, I guess it doesn't do your keyboard. I got to figure out how to get the keyboard to maybe function. Let's see. That's not it. Let's see, function. Yes, I got to see if there's like a quick way to type in a number. Okay, there it is. Okay, so let's see. So if I do another number, all right, so I got to do Alt, maybe it locks it in. Yeah, okay, so if you hit Alt twice, it locks it in. Although it doesn't indicate that you're, oh, I see. It's a tiny little icon in the upper corner of the screen. But I'll tell you what, I've looked at all of these phones that they've made over the years. This one, from a build quality standpoint, I think is probably the nicest they've put together. This is a really slick phone, like from just in a look and feel kind of thing. But it's got a tiny little screen. But it feels nice. Doesn't it look like a cool phone? This is not a BlackBerry. This is a G100. And yeah, it doesn't have the roller, but they've got a capacitive thing here in the middle. And my understanding was that it's supposed to work like a scroll wheel, but I am not sure of that. And we're going to kind of set this thing up from scratch, because I know that the old one was kind of configured that way. Yeah, it's unfortunate this is not yet available. You can pre-order it. I did the crowdfunded thing for this, so, and I don't like to do crowdfunding typically, but I found with these guys, G100 is the company, they tend to deliver on what they say they will be delivering on. But I guess what is the question is, do you really need a keyboard in this day and age? And I think what it is there's some holdouts that really like the physical keyboard. I have transitioned to to my screen keyboard, as many of us have. So I am not as keen on a physical keyboard, but I really like the way this feels. So it doesn't look like I can scroll with this. I don't know what this is for then. I'm just logging into my Google account. All right, we've got some few more folks popping in. So Crispy is here. Crispy wants to know, what year are we in? You know what's funny is I don't think there's a huge market for this, but there's enough of one. And I think that's what they kind of bank it on. And they don't make it until they have enough customers for it. So I think that's kind of the track it takes. And I don't think there's a fingerprint reader on this, is there? Unless that's what this thing is in the middle. Let's see. Oh, it does have it. Okay, so use your fingerprint to unlock the phone. So let's hit next. There it goes. There's a sensor right in the middle. So that's a fingerprint sensor in the middle there. That's a neat place for it, right? But there's some people that really like the physical keyboard and they don't want to lose that, right? So this would give you the Android functionality. And it feels like, honestly, it feels so well built. This feels like something BlackBerry would have put together. I had a BlackBerry, I forgot which one it was. I had a BlackBerry back in like 2007 or so. Jose KB does miss those old phones. They become too stale in design lately, as what Jose. Yeah, most of them are just candy bars, right? There's no innovation anymore. They all look the same. That's what I like about this company is they try different things. And so you can buy a big version of this. So they've got this big, huge one, and then they've got this little one. Oh, so this, it's not, let's see that. I can do that. Yeah, I'm not sure what that's supposed to do, to be honest with you. So if I push it, it goes back home. Yeah, I'll have to keep playing around with that a little bit. All right, so let's get, let's the 3D Mark wildlife test on this thing. I think it's got to do all of its updates also. So maybe we'll put this aside and let it update for a minute. So that's the first one. Also in the box, guess what? You get a power adapter. And this looks like probably like your standard like 12-watt power supply. Let's see, this is, how many watts is this? Yeah, it's like 12 volts, 1.5 amps. What is that, like 14 watts or something? So there you go. You got that and a USB-C charging cable. And I bet you this thing has a ton of updating to do. But it's solid. Like, you know, you look at these things like from a company you haven't heard from before and you think, it's going to be like cheesy feeling. But this thing feels super nice. Yeah, let's get the 3D Mark test installed on there. The screen is small because you're giving up real estate for, you know, for the keyboard. But it doesn't put the keyboard up unless you ask it to, right? So you have that as well to kind of counteract that. All right, we got some more comments. Lots of comments coming in. Keith Robinson says that this is great nostalgia for the BlackBerry times. Yeah, I'm going to do a full review of this one. This is like kind of next on my docket to start playing with. And it does not have the roller ball. Yeah, that was one thing I liked about the BlackBerry. You could easily scroll through there. Loving Literacy just joined us on Amazon. She says this reminds them of a Palm Pilot. Yeah, this has kind of got a bit of a Palm Pilot vibe to it, doesn't it? Did the Palm Pilots ever have an on-screen, or a physical keyboard? I can't remember. But it's pretty cool. And Jose is wondering, does this have a special use case or is it just a general phone? This is just a general phone. It is ruggedized. I think it's got, I have to check the specs on it. I'm pretty sure that it's got some IP ratings to it, you know, an IP something or other, and you know, for like basic splash and dust protection. So I think it's designed for a more rugged environment. The larger one, it's called, so this is the Titan, this one's called the Titan Pocket. And there's a Titan that you can get right now that's much bigger. So this is the size that I would have expected the original to be. So it's really, really slick. So that is that. Let me zoom in a little bit here so you can see a better view of it. So this you can't buy yet. It will be available soon. So I like to get my review done ahead of time. But the next one we're going to open is available on Amazon. And both of these are. So we'll get to these in a second. All right, so I think I want to let this thing finish doing its updates because there's a bunch of stuff that usually downloads when you first get these things set up. All right, we did that already. It wants me to activate the SIM. And then what is this? Okay, so the next thing, let's lock it and see if we can unlock it. Oh, that's cool. So if I want to unlock it, just put your finger on there. It lets you right in. Cool. All right, let's take a look and see if there is an update for it. Yeah, so it's definitely a constrained screen because it is so small. And now it's going to check for updates. And there is a system update. So let's plug it in for that. And then we'll open up some other phones while it's updating. All right. And a few people are pointing out that there were a few Palm Pilots that had physical keyboards. J.M. Morgenstern enjoys these videos. Yeah, these are fun to do. I like to do these lives as I'm playing with stuff. Because you know what's fun? It's like when I first get these things in, I can hear from people in real time, so it helps me with my content planning. So I'm going to plug this in and start downloading the updates. So we'll get that going on its update real quick. Put that over here for now. And I think we'll do the other one next. So now the other phone is another Unihertz. Now I've had this one for a while. I just never got to it. And I'm like a sucker with these people. I don't even use these phones more than just to review them. I usually sell them after I'm done. But they're so unique and interesting that they're just good content because they're so different. So this one is called the Jelly 2, and I think we looked at the Jelly 1 a while ago. So Loving Literacy wants to know, it's a fun toy. What is the one feature that surprised you about the Unihertz? I don't know if it's a feature so much as it is the industrial design. They're very well-built phones. And from a company that you've never heard of before, because who knows, they're not like a name brand phone company. They have stuck to these niches, or niches, depending on your pronunciation, and they just double down in them. So what they do is they do a crowdfunding thing first. So and I don't think they've ever had a thing that's failed so far. So on the crowdfunding, it works like it was supposed to work, in that you get the product early for a lower price than new. So I forgot what the difference in price is between what this is now versus what the Kickstarter was. But you take it out of the box, like, my gosh, this thing is incredibly well constructed. I mean, it feels like the build quality on this, and again, I'm surprised by how good it is. The build quality on this feels every bit as good as a phone you'd buy from a major, well-known manufacturer, if not better. Because this looks like it's designed to be dropped, in other words. Yeah, I'm sure the camera isn't great. I'm sure there's a lot of things that aren't spectacular here, but for someone looking for a full-fledged Android smartphone with all of its apps and a physical keyboard, there you go. I mean, the question really is whether or not a physical keyboard is necessary in this day and age. And Loving Literacy says, like, if you accidentally drop it, it would be fine. Yeah, generally I think that's the case. I'm pretty sure they've got a drop rating. Because I know the other one, the regular Titan, was like built to mil specs for that kind of thing. Let me see, Titan Pocket. Let me see what the specs are on this one. So, yes, this just came in the other day, so I just got this in. So the Titan we looked at previously. Now get this one. The Titan 1, the big version of this, they raised almost $780,000 on Kickstarter for the original phone. So they know whether or not they have any risk involved with it. And like I said, I've been really impressed with the quality of these things. All right, so what I'm looking for now is the ruggedness, IP68, let's see. Yes, so, okay, so right, what they're saying is it is tough, as tough and drop resistant as the Titan, but it's not waterproof. But they're not giving it a mil-spec rating. And then there was a question about SIM cards. This does take SIM cards, but it has either dual SIM or micro SD. So let's take a look at that real quick. Let me pull out my card here. So they've got a SIM popper, and they give you an extra screen protector in the box also. Isn't that cool? I'm just going to pop the SIM card out, or the SIM tray. So it can support 2 SIMs, or you can do a SIM and an SD card. So they packed a lot into this little thing, but it's not waterproof. Not waterproof. Drop proof, but not waterproof. And to be honest, I don't know what drop proof means, other than if you drop it, it likely will survive within reason until it doesn't. All right, so that is that one, and we'll let that one reboot and do its updates and all that good stuff. All right, next up. And I'm missing a bunch of comments on YouTube. Lots of people nostalgic for that old look. Now this one is a little different. So this one is called the Jelly 2. And this is a very compact, not very large smartphone. In fact, I think this is one of the smallest on the market. So let's see what this one looks like. This one's going to blow your mind. And it looks very similar, at least in its picture here, to the old one. And we'll go through all this in a second. Well, it comes actually with a case already. So you get it with the case. Let me take the case out of it because I want you to see exactly how small this thing is. This is slick. So this is the phone. That's it. So this is about the size of my favorite phone of all time, which was my Motorola Fader phone. So just to put this into perspective, that's the size. Is that small or is that small? And this one you can get now. It's $200 on Amazon. I'll let this one boot up. I don't know how you type on this thing because it is tiny. But yeah, these are available right now. This is the Jelly 2. If you click my link in the video description, you can grab one. Yeah, the quality on this feels really good. And it's got a big sticker on the back, which you can peel off. This is all the info on the phone. Isn't that cool? And this is full-on Android. And there is an update for this one, too. So let me get this one logged in, and we'll get going on the local network here. But it's got Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. I mean, it's a phone. It does everything a phone does. The battery life would be a good question. That I'm not sure about. But it is very high quality. So I'm going to give you a keyboard impression. I'm typing in my Wi-Fi password right now, and it's pretty good. Actually, it's not so good. I'll show you the keyboard in a second here. The numbers are super tiny. What's this do? Oh, it's a QR code. Hang on. Let's do. I can get the number. Yeah, I'm going to pull the number pad up separately. I'm guessing that swishing keyboard is probably the way you want to go on this one. Keith Robinson is saying, stop showing me these cool phones. Yeah, you can never have enough phones, right? And I'm pretty sure these work with all of the carriers in the US. I'll have to check on that, on carrier compatibility. Somebody should go and check on the Amazon page. I'll look also. Let's see. This is called the Jelly 2. And it's from a company called G100. And these folks have been making these tiny phones for a long time. They've got a real niche. It's the G100 Jelly 2, $209. It works on Verizon, and I'm guessing it works on all the other US carriers also. It's completely unlocked. Isn't it cute? So we do have to do a bunch of updates on this when it gets going. The screen doesn't look that bright, but I think we have to just turn the brightness up when it comes back up. And you got a fingerprint reader here in the back. You got a camera. There's a camera on the front too. It's got it all. Yeah, typing on it is oddly not bad. Like, it's better than you think it would be. I don't know how it knows what I'm trying to type on here, because my thumb is this. My thumb here. Just look at the keyboard. I'll show you in a second. The keyboard is exactly as big as you would think it is. So it's tiny. Okay, so let's log in. But you can actually get some good information on the screen here. And Freddie, thanks for the follow. Loving Literacy says on Amazon that this is a really cute phone. It is very cute. I mean, if you want something small, this was the thing. Like, this is how phones were going in this direction for a long time until around the time that the Palm Treos came out. I had a Palm Trio, and I went from a tiny phone to a big one when I did that. Let me set my PIN number here. Oops. And then we'll do the fingerprint. Okay, so then we're going to do, oops, shoot. I just screwed up, hang on. I hit I slid to the side. Okay, so touch the sensor. So now I'm going to touch the back of the sensor here to get the fingerprint programmed. And KK Nundy here says that they're going to have an Android 11 build for it. So that's cool. Keith wants to know, does it use a micro SIM card? I'm pretty sure it does. I'll pop open the SIM popper here in a second once it boots up. And it looks like it supports Google Assistant. We'll try that in a minute. All right. It's adding the finishing touches. And we can take a look at what else is in the box here too. And you know, it's funny, it looks like it has a little strap, little wrist strap. You kind of need that, right? And you got your charging cable here and a charger. And this one's only 5 volts at 1.5 amps. So it doesn't, this one's a faster charging phone than this one is. So let's pop out the SIM here real quick. The SIM tool's in here, I think. Yeah, so you get a silicon case with it also. It feels like it's metal. It's actually very nicely constructed. Doesn't it look nice? And I'll see if I can get the brightness turned up on the display here a bit. Yeah. All right, so this is full brightness. So it's not like super bright, but it's bright enough. And then you'll just visit NASA, see how that looks. So this is where like the keyboard, it's like how small the keyboard is. So it's really hard to type on the keyboard sometimes. But if I do this, oops. So I think you're going to want to, oops, no, I didn't want to type that. Hang on, NASA. There we go. I think you're going to want to do the swiping keyboard because it's a little hard to type on it. And if you've got a website that's designed to fit a small screen, it will format appropriately. But what's cool is that this is an Android phone, so it's not like some limited thing. You get the full Google Play. So pretty cool. And it looks like I answered Loving Literacy's question right before it was asked. How about that? And we got another SIM tool here. So let's take a look at the SIM tray and see what we've got for SIM options here. And they also have like a button here. I think it works with push-to-talk apps. You can program what that button does. And it's got a USB Type-C port here on the side. And let's pop open the SIM tray here. So yeah, this one too has got dual SIM, and you can fit an SD card in here. Can't even do that on the iPhone. How about that? I guess the iPhone has that thing on there. Well, that's a good idea. We should try the Game Pass. Yeah. So, yep, uses a micro SIM, nano SIM. Yeah, sorry, nano SIM, nano SIM, and it's dual nano SIM. So very neat. And we've got another follower on Amazon, CS Training. All right, so let's boot it back up here. Now, there's definitely an update for this, so I'm going to pop into that updater. Oops. And now it locked me out of the fingerprint thing. I'm going. All right, so let me type in my PIN number. Yeah, so I think the one thing you'll struggle with is typing on it. So if you're not frequently sending emails, but of course you can do the assistant. Now, if you have a Google device, here, I'll mute myself for a second. So it doesn't appear to have a okay, you know what. What time is it in New York City?
The time in New York is 2:27 p.m.
So you could dictate your emails to it. That would probably work. And CS says they've always been watching my streams. Awesome. So Spike Blighty says, how do you switch SIMs? That's a good question. There is a tool here called the SIM tool, but I have to have a SIM installed to do it. So my guess is that, let me jump into the settings real quick and see. I got to charge the battery here too. I'm guessing that SIM tool is what you use to switch carriers. But it is tiny. All right, so we're going to plug it in and update it. Seanflay says I should do a Windows 11 upgrade stream. I probably will do that once it's available. Maybe I'll upgrade my gaming laptop, which is a high-risk thing because I use that for a lot of production stuff. Julie Zan wants to know, can you connect the phone to an iPhone-generated hotspot? You should. Yes, you could as a like a tablet device. You could use, it'll connect to any Wi-Fi, and the cord has a little angle to it. So let's plug this in. And we'll start charging it up real quick. I hate to take it off camera. It's so cute. You know what I'll do? I'll switch these around. It's going to get pulled off the table here. Look how small that is. All right, so let's take a look and see, first of all, if that fingerprint's going to read. There it goes. So let me back in that time. And we're going to go and update the software on it. So there should be a system update here. Yep, 118 megabytes. And this brings it up to the May 5th, 2021 security settings. And it looks like it addresses a few issues. So it is downloading. So we'll let that update do its thing. And while it updates, I will unbox the Motorola phone. Now this is I think a new Motorola phone. I haven't looked at a Motorola phone in a while. Now the Jelly phone and the Titan Pocket I paid for with my own funds. This one is on loan from Lenovo. And apparently what this phone will do is work with this augmented reality headset that they also sent me. So I've got to get the phone set up first. And then we'll try the AR thing. Probably not today, because I've got... So it works... I got to figure out how to shoot the AR video, because there's a whole another PC component to it also. So this is the Moto G100, and there's two parts in here. Ready for cable. So what is this? Oh, this is neat. So this is an HDMI cable for the phone, so you can extend it to your screen. I bet you that's what it uses for that AR thing. So let's take a look at that. So kind of like a run-of-the-mill cable, but it appears as though it's got power pass-through on it. So I wonder if this will work with a docking station. We should try that. So it's a USB to HDMI adapter, but there's a pass-through, it looks like, for power on the back there. So that's what that is. And there we go. And the phone is, this thing is updating, I think. Let's see. Okay, install now. Okay, so we'll let that reboot real quick. All right, let's see what this looks like. So this is more of your traditional phone, but like the Jelly, it has a case on it. Look how long it is. Look at this. It's very long. And you know, if the market-leading phones have 3 cameras, then you need to have 4, right? Look at this, 1, 2, 3, 4. And Motorola has always done those like super high pixel rate, megapixel phones. So this has a 64 megapixel camera on the back. That's got to result in some huge files. And there's 2 cameras on the front. So there's 6 cameras on this thing. Oh my goodness. just when you thought you cannot have enough cameras. And the power adapter here, it looks like it's not a terribly fast one. I can't see, I'm blind here. Yeah, it looks like it's 5 volts, 2 amps. This is like your standard tablet charger. So it's not going to be all that quick to charge, at least out of the box. And then what I could also test is whether or not it has, oops. So look how tiny that phone is. So cool. All right, so let's get the power plugged in here. And Grayson, yes, 64 megapixel. But here's the thing. You know, megapixels are not the whole story, you know? So some of these things, if the sensors are really tiny, then it's not as important on the megapixels, right? I think it's, you know, I've got like a 12 megapixel Nikon that takes beautiful pictures because it's got a large sensor. So that does make a difference. And they've got these cool chromatic, this is the metal on the back of the phone. It's got that nice chromatic effect. Let me take the case off. It's funny, the case feels a lot like the one that came with, hello, Moto. All right. Oh, my goodness. This one may already be set up because they sent it for me to look at some AR thing that they're doing. Yeah, this one's already set up, ready to go. So let's take a look and see. I got to get it on the Wi-Fi. Because apparently they're doing this, this AR thing. So I think that's what this phone was kind of set up to do. But I figured I would review it anyhow. So let's go in and do the, let me do the Wi-Fi real quick and get it connected. And we'll go in there. Oops. So bear with me for 1 second here and we'll get the Wi-Fi going. The little phone's installing its update. And then I'll do some tests on it, and then I've got a phone call in a little bit that I got to get on. So I'll type my password here. Get our IP address. Yeah, so it's got 2 front-facing cameras. That's a lot of cameras. So if I pull this up, whoa, whoa, Universal Device Client. Do you want to install an update? Yes, I guess we should. Like I said, this is being used with some AR thing that they're doing. So there's a bunch of updates that are happening now that it's on the network. I was going to install everything. I don't normally recommend just tapping everything to install, but this is their phone, not mine, so I think it's okay. Okay, install. So yeah, so there's a AR headset that I just got in. And, okay, welcome to the, let's take a tour of the camera. So tap to control the flash and timer. Swipe up to see capture settings. Hold and drag for more zoom control. Now, I looked at one a while ago called the Motorola Action Phone, which had like a wide angle, like a super ultra wide angle lens. So how do we switch cameras? There's like a million cameras on this thing. So let's see, all right, so there's this camera. And then that's a rear camera. So it's just those front and back. So I don't know what the other camera is for. But it's cool though, is that look at what it's doing. It puts a little ring here, a little ring on the screen around the active camera. So can I just tap the one I want? I guess not. So how do I switch to the other camera? What is that? Oh, I see. There's, oh, it's like a, here, let me give you my other camera angle here. Give me a second. Let's get the camera repositioned. My desk is very messy, isn't it? Too many phones to unbox here. So this is like you and the other person angle, and then there's the single person angle. And then each of these little the little things lights up around the camera. So watch what happens when I switch it. See that? That's cool. Okay, so now let's go to the back camera. So I hit this to go to the back cameras. So there is Yeah, so I'm guessing, I'll have to read up on this. So there's a, don't mind the mess. There's a super wide angle, your regular 1x. There's a macro. Here, let's do the end of the connector here. Let's try that. There's a macro on it. I'm guessing I must try to intelligently switch between each camera. It's about the width of 2 fingers, it says. That's pretty macro. HDMI like you've never seen it before. So I got to figure out like how these, oh, look at that, it lights. It has a little light around it for the macro camera. Isn't that cool? So if I switch out of that, yes, it turns the light off. So it's got a little light around the macro camera. This must be like a depth sensor because it doesn't appear to be a lens underneath that thing. So there's really like 3 cameras and it looks like an infrared sensor is what that looks like to me. Pretty cool. All right, so I've got a bunch of comments here to catch up on. Let's see what else we got going on here. So, what USB connection, 2 or 3? So this is a USB Type-C connection on this. And my guess is that this is probably going to be a more, fully functional USB 3.2 deal, because it does have the external video output. So let's see what else we got for... Yeah, but it does have a neat light around the macro camera, doesn't it? It's kind of neat. So this is a good point. What to see? Any megapixels to allow anything far away, such as televisions in a restaurant. I'll have to play around with that and see exactly what we can squeeze out of it. And uses a camera to help him read lunch dinner menus in addition to seeing what's on TV in a restaurant without walking to the TV. Well, that's not a bad idea. So it looks like a majority of the zooming on this is due to, is going to be because of the megapixels on it, is what I'm guessing. So if we go in, let's try this real quick. Let's try to zoom in on, so I'm on the 1x right now, but if I zoom in, so it gets like super close, doesn't it? But it still retains, a lot of the quality because it's got the megapixels. So I'll have to play around with this and see what it looks like. I have found that, this is funny, that Google Lens have found a bunch of phones that look like it. I have found with these phones, by the way, remember Google used to own Motorola until Lenovo bought them out. But I have found that the software on the phone makes a bigger difference than the camera sensor does. So you look at what like Apple is doing with the iPhone, what Google is doing with the Pixel phones. There's a definite advantage to your software expertise with this stuff. All right, let's do a couple of things. What I want to do first, this one feels like it's been put up to date by our friends at Motorola. So I'm going to log into my fake Google account here. And what I want to do is download the benchmark, because this one's got a fancy processor. So I'm pretty sure that this one has the 970, is that what it's got? We'll find out in a second. Let me just finish logging in here. It feels comfortable though. It's a nice feeling phone. I've always felt like the Motorola phones are kind of underrated. Not overrated, but underrated. So this is a good question, Trenton, because I had a similar one I went from the 12 Pro to the 13 Pro, and I can tell you if the faster refresh rate on the screen isn't a big deal, there's not much of a difference between the two. Although I don't know why I'm getting messages on this thing. I will say, though, that I am interested in its new portrait mode for video. So it's got a neat video effect that makes it almost look like an SLR kind of image. And it doesn't shoot at 4K in that mode. It only does 1080p 30 in that mode, but it looks really good. So that's something I've kind of been enjoying playing with. But I don't see a compelling reason if you're unhappy with your 12, you're not going to be more happy with the 13. And if you're happy with your 12, I don't think there's enough with the 13 to justify the upgrade. And I have a feeling Apple has been more incremental in their upgrades lately. And honestly, I probably would have been fine staying with my 11. The only reason why I've been upgrading is that I've been getting a good amount on the trade-in. So that's why I traded mine in. All right, let's wait and see what's happening here. Okay, so let's open up the benchmark. And we're going to run that 3D Mark Wildlife benchmark on here. So let me pull up my spreadsheet. I've been slowly getting more wildlife results on my phones. So let's try that out real quick. This is Wildlife Unlimited. This is Extreme. Yeah, Wildlife is the one we want. So just to put this in perspective, the iPhone Pro 13, and if you want, go to Lon.TV/benchmarks and look for the Wildlife Unlimited test on the bottom of the screen. I will take a look at that. Somebody on Amazon is wondering, did I get the 13? Yes, I have the 13 Pro right here. And if you go and look on my live streams, we actually did a live unboxing of this. And I haven't done a review of it yet, partly because everybody reviews the phone, and it's a lot of work that doesn't often result in a payoff for me. So I have not reviewed it yet, but I will probably review the things that I like about it the most. So if you go to Lon.TV/benchmarks, you can see the screen that I will be filling things in on. And the phone that, the iPhone 13 with the Apple A15 scored 11,665 on this test. And let's see, oh, excuse me, what we get on the other one. So Amazon customer, if you go to Lon.TV/live streams, you will see the live stream we did the other day unboxing the phone. In fact, it's the most recent video before this one. So I don't think I can post links. Let's see if it'll let me post a link in there. Let's see. There you go. Misha wants to know, why is it called jelly? That is a good question, because it's not jelly-like. It is very much a pretty well-constructed phone. We're going to come back to this in a second now that it's booted up. So I want to run some benchmarks and see if we can figure out where everything falls into place. Yeah, so Amazon customer, I didn't post the iPhone part of that live stream. So if you go to the live stream itself, you'll see the unboxing of the other one. Okay, so the score on this one is 4,235. So this is definitely like no competitor for the iPhone Pro 13. In fact, this phone is kind of down in the iPhone. It's like, so this is like the equivalent of an Apple A12 is where this one kind of falls into place. So, and Amazon customer, that link that I just put in the chat, if you go to that, it'll take you right to it. And it's kind of in the middle. of that stream. I think the iPhone was the last thing I took out of the box. But I haven't done anything yet with it beyond, like video-wise, beyond unboxing it. But I am in the process of trying to figure out how to review it in a way that people might find of interest. All right, so what does this have for a processor? I gotta look up the processor on this one. So the Moto G100. The Moto G100, it has I'm just looking through here for the processor. View all specifications. Okay. Android 11. It's got a Snapdragon 870 5G. So where does that put this one? I think, so it's better than the Google Pixel phones, the ones that are currently available. But it's not like up to flagship status, but it's also not priced at that level either. So it's an 870 5G. The Pixel 5 has a 760 5G, so this one is obviously doing better than that one is. And the frame rate is 25.4 FPS. So that is that one. And let's see how the Jelly does. So we're going to unlock I got to type my PIN number in on this thing here, so let me do that real quick. All right, we're in. And I got it plugged in and charging, so we'll see how it does on this. And we've got the new update. I should probably zoom in on it so you can see it. Now, did we install 3D Mark? I can't remember if we did or not. Let's see. I don't think we did. So let's do that real quick. So, you know, it's, like I said, it's hard to type on it. But surprisingly, and I noticed this with the first one I looked at, it actually gets what you're intending to type for the most part. So I just typed in 3D Mark, and that's what it got me. But I think if you're used to a larger phone, this will frustrate you to some degree. But this really is like about the size. So I had this Motorola flip phone back in the late 90s. It was probably like 99 or 2000. And it was this tiny phone. It was about this size, but it would flip open. It was called the Motorola Vader. If I can find a picture of it. Moto Vader. So yeah, if you look for the Motorola Vader phone, yeah, here it is. Here, I'll copy this over to my production system. Let me just drop this into the. But I think there's people out there that would like a small phone like this. And, you know, it's one of those things where you can always just swap your SIM card out. You know, if you wanted to use this one while you were going somewhere and didn't want a big phone to lug around, you know, you could kind of use this thing. And we'll download the benchmark. I'll plug it in before we run it. And I'll just put this picture of the Motorola Vader phone in my thing here so you can see what it looks like. Image. But this Motorola phone that I had was like my favorite phone ever. And it was one of those phones where people were like, wow, that is a small phone. So this is what it looked like. And so this phone is like the same size as that. It's look at see that in my hand? Like it's about the same size. So when I looked at the first one, I was like, my gosh, this is like almost a complete spitting image of my favorite phone of all time. All right, let's see how this does in the benchmark. Let me just plug it in real quick. We have to rerun it, but. That's when I have it plugged in for fairness. But yeah, again, this was what I had when I was a 20-something. That was my phone. And I had a StarTAC before that one. Bob F. is wondering what processor is in the Jelly 2. That is a good question. Let me look up the processor while we're running the test. So it's got a oh wow, this has a Snapdragon 820. So this should, on this test, we should see results a little better perhaps than the Pixel phones from Google. So let's see how this comes out when it runs. Yeah, it's a Qualcomm Snapdragon 820. And as Grayson points out, yeah, this would not be a phone for the visually impaired because like it's really hard to see the screen. And my eyesight is not great these days, but it's definitely something I think people will struggle with if you're having visual challenges because it is tiny. Oh, it's an MTK? Oh, I'm wrong. Okay, let me go look this up because I was looking at somebody's comment on somewhere. Let me look up the Jelly 2 Unihertz. Let me see what it has for a processor. All right, Jelly 2. Yes, okay, I totally was wrong. It has a MediaTek Helio P60. So it is not a Snapdragon as originally reported. So I got that wrong. Sorry, everybody. Let me zoom in on it a little bit more here. But it sure is tiny. And this is a test that I run on all of our mobile devices just to see how each one performs. And PC Magazine reports that the battery life is about 7 hours on this, so the battery's not going to be spectacular either. And remember, like, even though the phone is tiny, it's the same, it's running the same processor that a larger phone has, which has more room for a battery. So PC Mag in their review said the camera isn't very great, the touch keyboard is tiny, and it's short battery life. But it is the smallest smartphone you can get out there. Oh shoot, I just screwed up the test. Great, we gotta run it again. Hang on. Sorry, test, I totally messed you up. Let's run it again. I can't help but touch it, it's so cute. It's a tiny little thing. Yeah, so this again is like about the size of the, so if you liked this old Motorola Vader phone, which is again my favorite phone of all time. Now that phone had a removable battery. I regret parting with that phone because I would have liked to have just had it as an artifact. And that was the smallest phone I ever owned up until now. And actually, this is not doing what I want it to do. Hang on. And now we're down to this little guy. So hang on, I totally screwed up the test again. There we go. Okay. And surprisingly, and this is the same, now I reviewed the original Jelly. I'm pretty sure that was the one I reviewed. Let me look back and see which ones I've looked at on my YouTube channel. Because we've looked at a bunch of these in the past. I think I reviewed just about every one of them, every phone they come out with, because the phones, again, are so high quality, but they're super tiny. Okay, so I did not review the original Jelly. However, I did review the Unihertz Atom, which is a rugged version of this design. And that thing was awesome. That was like a little tank. And what's neat is that these Unihertz reviews, I get more views on these than most of my other smartphone reviews because not that many people know about them. And they're so different, right? So that's what I like about these little phones. But again, look how tiny it is. Again, same size as the Motorola Vader. I love that phone. Did I tell you how much I love that phone? All right, so let's let that test run for real this time. BB Garnett says that they should have different colors. Yeah, that would be kind of neat if they had different colors. I don't think they do. If you go on the Amazon link, you can check it out. I will do the same. Let's see if there is a different color available. But they sell these things. I mean, they do these crowdfunding things. They get over almost $1 million in sales. And I think I paid and you pay far less than the other carriers. Now, carrier support, by the way. AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile here in the US, and then any of those MVNOs that work over that. The screen is 326 pixels per inch. It's got a 2,000 milliamp hour battery. It has GPS obviously built in. And it's got an infrared remote, so you can use it as a universal remote control for your television. Well, that's cool. We'll have to try that out. And it's funny, the top reviewer of this phone on Amazon says that they bought the phone to reduce screen time and have a more minimalistic approach to having a smartphone. So it looks like he bought it for more of the phone than the screen part. And apparently it has face unlock. Huh. So we'll let that test finish up and see where we end up on it when it's done. But isn't that cool? Again, super tiny. So you have like the big phone, and then here's my iPhone compared to it. So this is the iPhone Pro. It's like a little tiny, almost looks like a little UFO. Super tiny. So tiny you don't care about the bezels, right? People always complain about bezels. There's no bezels on this thing. All right, let's let that finish up. And if you missed it earlier, we unboxed this one a little while ago. This is the Titan Pocket. And let me just unlock it real quick. So this one is not yet available, but it is another design that they have in their lineup. So they have a bigger one of these that you can get right now called the Titan. And so if you like if you like a physical keyboard on your phone, this has the BlackBerry design, but in an Android device. And the build quality on both of these is outstanding. This thing feels like it could take a bullet. Like it's super, super rugged feeling. So what I want to do is run that benchmark on here too. And I'll look up the processor on this one. But it's funny, I am so over physical keyboards myself. But people are interested in this because I think people like that physical keyboard. Like they had the BlackBerry, they were productive. I used to be very productive on my BlackBerry keyboard. And for a long time, that's what people that were in like the business of communicating were using BlackBerries with these keyboards. But I think we've all gotten spoiled by our predictive input display keyboards, right? So I think that's kind of contributed there. All right, let's take a look at what the processor is in this one. So Titan Pocket specs. So the Titan Pocket, which is this one, has a P70 Helio. And did I say the other one had a P60? Was that what I said it had? Let me look that up real quick. Yeah, so the little one's got the P60, and this one has the P70. This one's got 6 gigs of RAM. The little one doesn't say how much RAM it has. Oh yeah, okay, so they both have 6 gigs of RAM. And this one's got 6 gigs of RAM and 128 gigabytes of storage with Android 10. Isn't that nuts in a little tiny phone? So for $200, you get a tiny phone that's got more memory than your iPhone will have for anywhere near that price. Of course, it doesn't perform like the iPhone does. But let's see what happens. So the Motorola here is definitely going to win the performance battle. And I got to do a little bit more with this one. But I would say of the three, I think, and you all can vote in the chat, I think you all would want to see the little one reviewed first, right? Let me know. I know Grayson probably wants the Motorola done first. And Grayson says he doesn't mind a phone with a keyboard. Yeah, I mean, think about it. The iPhones have gotten a little thicker, haven't they? Because now they're using the. All right, get this thing unlocked again. All right, there we go. And that on the front there is a fingerprint reader. So let me go in and do the unlimited benchmark. And I don't expect this one to do much better than this one. I think they're going to come in around the same performance. And you can also see, like, this will be interesting, like media consumption on the Titan Pocket because of its square screen. It's going to look a little weird. And Rich Daly says that he knows people who want physical keyboards. I'm in my late 40s, but I have the typing thumbs of a teenager, and I feel like there is more potential to type fast on a software keyboard. I agree with that, primarily because there's a lot of different ways that you can type on a software keyboard. I've been doing, the iPhone now does the swiping thing, and I've been doing a lot of that swiping typing, especially when I'm out walking the dog and I don't have a hand free. So I've been doing that quite a bit. All right, the results are in on the wildlife benchmark, and this little guy did not perform very well. I did not expect it to, but it just gives you an idea as to where it falls. So we got Unihertz Jelly 2. And if you go to Lon.TV/benchmarks, you can follow along with what I'm doing right now. And this has a MediaTek Helio P60. Hang on one second. All right, so let me just type that in. We get a score of, it just put itself to sleep here, didn't it? .641 and an average frame rate of 3.8 frames per second. So not very fast. And it looks like an error occurred. A report has been sent to, yeah, it looks like they probably don't anticipate people running this test on a weird-looking phone like this. We'll try to run it one more time. We may not be able to get the test to complete on this. Although I don't think, the processor in this one is very similar to this one, so I don't think it's going to do very well. Let's try a little YouTube. So I think YouTube's on this. And this is like a legit Google device, so you can get all your apps on here. So let me watch my latest video. Skip the ad here.
Hey everybody, it's Lon.TV, but it's time once again for your weekly wrap-up. And this week we're going to take another one of our deep dives into a current tech topic. This one, the upcoming USB...
It doesn't seem to be switching its perspective here.
What's that going to mean for the future of your iPhone? We're going to talk about that right now, so let's get...
There we go, I got to turn that on, okay.
Now this effort to standardize charging is nothing new. In fact, back in 2000, the standard for mobile of the phone manufacturers shifted to over that period of time.
I mean, it's YouTube, you know?
As you'll recall, Apple did not go in that direction.
So I'll give you the other.
Using lightning. So how did they get away with that in Europe? Well, they were able to get a carve out in the agreement to allow.
So it's not terribly fast, but
could also be a cable.
now what I should be able to do here, if I, yeah, so it even does the picture in picture. Isn't that cool?
Had to have a USB plug on it, and if the manufacturer had an adapter to go from USB to
That's
their own
neat.
format, that was acceptable to the European Union back in 2009. Now, fast forward to last week, and the European Union said, you know.
And what's so bizarre is that the touch screen, while challenging, it kind of gets where you're typing, which is so weird. Here's the remote control app. So there's a little IR blaster on the top here, and you can use that to turn your television on, apparently. Watch like a king. You can turn several devices on with one speech, it says. Go now. So you can program in like your TV, all this stuff. That's wild. Somebody was at my door. Hang on a second, let's see what they're dropping off here. Another Amazon package arrived. All right. Pretty cool. So what do you guys want to see on this thing? Let's see. We could probably put a game on here, huh? Oh yeah, it's got a headphone jack too, right there. So don't let anybody tell you that the headphone jack makes it so you can't have a small phone. It totally fits up there. Rich says that to be well within the things that I buy after my fourth beer. Yeah, it's got a camera on the back, got a fingerprint sensor, a torch, and a flash. Front camera. It's got a pro mode, whatever that means. Oh, you can do like manual settings there. So this is the rear camera that we're using right now. I'm guessing the pictures are not going to be great on this. Oh, you know what I could do? Watch this. We're going to bring in video. We can bring in the video. So let me just do a quick install of the NDI camera app. Let's see if it works on this. Yes, it does work. Yeah, so I can connect this to my video system. Wireless charging. I don't think it supports wireless charging. Let me peel this. Look how nice this looks. Isn't that slick? Like, it's really cool looking. I just want to put this back in the box. And I've been sitting on this thing for months. I just never got to it, and now I regret not getting to it earlier. Because I think a lot of you would be interested in this, even if it's a novelty more than anything else, right? Okay, so removable battery, no. No, that's the one thing that my beloved, that my Motorola Vader had, was a removable battery. Let me get zoomed in a little bit here so you can get a better view of it. So that is how tiny this thing is. So now what I can do is I can bring this into my video system. So right now we're on the native camera here. So let's see what my camera modes are. So I can do 720p or 480. So the top mode here, it looks like it's like a 1080p 30 camera. Now what I can do, watch this. I can bring it in on my NDI system here. And we can get a feel for the image quality. Now don't mind the mess in this room because it's totally messy right now. All right, so I'm gonna hit OK. You ready? There you go. So this is the camera coming in over NDI. It's actually not a bad little NDI camera. Isn't that wild? And you can see all of yourselves here. And here's my vMix system. And then for my friends on Amazon, you can see what's going on here. Now, can I flip the camera around? Let's take a look. Well, I can, I think. Flip that around. There we go. So this camera is not looking as good. This is like, so this camera does 720, this is 720p. And then this camera is, so that's the 480p camera. These are the resolutions that I'm setting here. So I don't think it actually does native 1080p out the front, because it looks like it's happier. This is the 720p mode. Not bad. A little washed out. The colors aren't that great. So the rear camera does better. But that's one of the cool things about this NDI is that you can just put your cameras up on the network. So I could use a tiny phone like this as a network camera. It's crazy, right? All the luck says as good as the MacBook webcams. Yeah, kind of falls into that category, doesn't it? That's a good point. Does it have an FM radio app? A lot of these do. So let's take a look and see. There's a wireless. What is this? This is wireless emergency alerts. There's student mode. I don't know what that means. There's a bunch of built-in apps on here. Toolbox, compass, flashlight, bubble leveler, alarm, protractor. There's a bunch of random tools. Heart rate. I don't know how it does that. It does not look like it comes with an FM radio. There's a sound recorder. Yeah, I don't see an FM radio on here. I'll have to look for that. Now, we did get a result back on our wildlife benchmark test on the Pocket. And the Pocket is a little better than the Jelly, but not much. So the Pocket is coming in, Titan Pocket. So it's got a Helio P70. And this one came in at 731. So neither one of these is going to knock your socks off for performance. So these are not going to be good gaming devices by any stretch. But man, I'll tell you what, it is so nicely built. It's got it gets fingerprints easily, of course. It's super fingerprinty. But it's cool. And you can browse the web on it. So we can go, we can browse our NASA homepage here, get the latest news on NASA. Watch videos on it. I'm sure you can install Netflix. Let's see if Netflix is on this. I'm sure it is. So you get this tiny little thing, and you can actually type on it. Yep, Netflix works on it. So you got this tiny little thing, and you can watch Netflix on. I think that's wild. So all the, bulk of the apps will just install on this thing. And what's funny, here, I'll go back to YouTube. When you're watching a YouTube video on it, it's,
You know what? That memorandum of understanding we had just isn't going far enough. Because they took the power adapter out. They also took the headphones out. And they've made the box a lot smaller.
I mean, it's watchable.
Apple a lot more money. Yes, there are some environmental benefits to this because you can ship more phones on the same boat or plane. However,
and then, like I said, it can do the
less to ship each phone, so they're saving a lot of money there. And of course, they're also saving money on manufacturing all these power adapters at the same time. Now, the European Union wanted these companies to offer customers the choice.
So if it wasn't so tiny, it would not be a very good phone from a performance standpoint. But it does everything that, it's almost surprising that it can do what it can do in such a small form factor. It is a little warm to the touch right now, but that was because we were running that benchmark on it earlier. Does it have portrait mode on the camera? I'll take a look at that in a second. And Greg says, yeah, this could be useful for that because you get a full featured phone. Download your podcasts. It's got 128 gigabytes of storage, so you have plenty of room to store everything on it. So there's definitely some advantages to it. And you can pop in your nano SIM. Actually, it takes 2 nano SIMs. You can have 2 running on there at once. Does it support video out via USB? No, I don't believe it does. It does not do that, but you could do your Chromecast like you can on other ones. Yeah, 128 gigabytes. 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 128 let's see, what was I going to do? Oh, we were going to check and see if the camera has a portrait mode. I doubt it does. Oops, it's a clock. Back to the camera. So there's normal, video, and time-lapse. And you have Pro, which does, you can do your white balance, exposure, and then set your, yeah, so basically the Pro does like white balance and exposure settings. But it doesn't have portrait mode, but in looking at it, there's a good natural bokeh to it. So you're going to get a little natural blurring even without a, a specific photo mode. And I'll show you here. I'll just give you a little zoom here. So you can see how sharp, oops. You can see how sharp the box is, and look how blurry the background is. So if your background is far enough away, I think you'll get a good natural bokeh out of that lens. I wonder what kind of lens it's got. I got to dig into the specs a little bit more. It looks like it might actually not be too bad as a low light. Maybe not, we'll see. But yeah, tiny, super tiny phone. Connor got here late. What does the Motorola look like? It looks good. You know, it's like their other ones. I was just charging it up a little bit. Ugh. I got to do some more testing with this one. It's super long, as you can see. Let me pop into this thing here real quick. Where's the fingerprint reader? Is there a fingerprint reader on this thing? I think it's underneath the screen, maybe. So this one is, I got to zoom the camera back out again because it's so long. So it looks pretty good. This is the Motorola. You have three cameras back here. It looks like there's four, but there's actually, I think this one's a depth sensor. I got to read up on it before I do more. So you got a macro lens, a wide angle lens, and then like your regular 1x. But the 1x has a 64 megapixel sensor on it. So that's what that is there. Oh, I passed by, Ralph says I passed by the FM radio. Let me look and see if I can find that again. So let's boot it back up here. So then this one has a fingerprint sensor on it, by the way. All right, so I went right by it, he said, as I was going through it. So let's look at this again. Because this is not, this is the sound recorder. That's not the FM radio. Notebook remote. Oh, here it is, FM radio. Okay. So I have to plug in headphones for that to work. So it does apparently have an FM radio, but I don't have headphones nearby. Because who has headphones anymore? But it does require headphones because it uses those as the antenna. So I will play with that and let you know how it sounds. Connor's wondering what the price is on the Motorola. The price on the Motorola is about $500, I think. Yeah, it's $499, but it's unlocked. And I found the Motorola phones to be a good value. I just feel like they're too long. So I like my iPhone length. So you see the difference there? I mean, it's just not as big. But I guess the iPhone Max is probably the same height and a bit wider. So it's narrower, I think, than others. And you have two cameras on the front. So there's a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cameras on this. And some kind of depth sensor. And this is a good question from Tom, which we'll have to explore when I play around with the phone outside, is whether or not the camera is actually worth it. Because this has a 64 megapixel sensor, but I think it's using that more for crop and zoom than it might be for image quality. So when you zoom past the 1x, you're digitally zooming, but because it's got such a highly sensitive sensor, it'll zoom in better. But if the software isn't there, it's not going to look as good as another phone might. Megapixels aren't everything, as they say. But this thing is in a class by itself. And they sell these things. Like, they really do sell. Let me see what they got for this on the Kickstarter. Yes, this is now my third or fourth. So if you go on my channel, you can see what we've reviewed in the past from them. I'm pretty sure I've reviewed 3 of these phones already. Definitely 2. So let's go back to the campaign here. So they raised, yeah, so they brought in almost $1 million in crowdfunding for this one. What's interesting, though, is that their crowdfunding totals are not what they used to be. So when the first product they did was the original jelly, and that one was $1.2 million. And then the Atom, which we reviewed, which was the ruggedized version of this. And then they had the Titan, which we also reviewed. So I've looked at the Atom, the Titan, and now I've got the Jelly 2 and the Titan Pocket. So I did not review the Atom XL, which was a larger version of the Atom. But I did review the Atom, which you can check out on the channel. And it's got the same size screen, but it's more rugged. And this is their newest one. Whoops. I love the way this feels. I have no practical use for this, but I just like the way it feels. It's a very nice, attractive phone, I think, if you like keyboards. But it's incredibly well built. Both of these are. The build quality, I would put this up against any major phone manufacturer, either one of these, as far as build quality is concerned. And this is what it means to like carve out a niche, right? Like you find what the market is not offering. It's not a huge market. Like how many people really want a tiny phone like this? But there's enough to support some. And it's not that expensive. It's $200, and it's a phone. It's like a regular phone, and it's running Android. I think this is Android 10. Although somebody in the chat said they're going to release Android 11 for it. Let me go and look up the Android version. But it's been running everything I've thrown at it so far. So this is running Android 10. And we did an update when we started today, and this is now on the May of 2021 security level. And All the Lux wants to know, how does it look in the case that comes with it? That's a good question. Let's put it in there. So this is the case that comes with it. It's okay. I'm not sure how much protection it provides. The case doesn't extend beyond the height of the display. So it's not going to protect it if it falls flat. Because a lot of these cases have a little lip on them that extends up a little bit higher than the display does. But oops. Oh, it's light. Look at that. Wow, it's bright. And I got to look at programming that center button there. Yeah, the flashlight's pretty bright on it. The fingerprint reader has been hit or miss for me. I may have to like reprogram my thumb on it, or my finger on it. There is a button on the side. So you've got this red button, and you can program that button to do different things. And I'm looking for the setting for that. Because right now it looks like, what does that button do? Oh, that one's taking a screenshot right now. So let's see if we can figure out how to program that to do something different. I'll have to look at the instructions. So it's like a multi-function button that you can configure to do what you want with. So here is the user guide. I'm just going through the book here to see if we can. Yeah, I have to look into changing that button. It is called, they call that button the programmable key. I'm just going to look up to see if I can change that key to do something different. Roger P. is joining us on Amazon. Hello there. We got a new member, Rich Daly. Welcome to the bronze level. And it looks like Grayson upgraded his membership on Amazon, on YouTube, so thank you both. Let's see here. I'm just trying to see how to change the programmable key on the Jelly. So it turns on, see, like when it's off, it turns on the torch, or the flashlight, as we say in the US. Yeah, that fingerprint reader is definitely not reading my fingerprint. Okay, so let's go back into settings maybe. Well, I will figure that out before I do the final review on this thing. But I think it's cool. I have no use for this at all, but it actually works. It's not like it's a novelty, but it works. So that's what I think is neat about it. And you can easily swap the thing back out. Does the Moto have 5G? I'm pretty sure the G100 supports 5G. Yes, it is a 5G phone. It's a Snapdragon 870 in the Motorola. And I've got to dig into the specs on that one a bit more. And that one actually, they sent over this AR headset that works with it, so that's what we're looking at. Mark Smith says, that looks very small. It is incredibly small. And like I said, this really matches what I had back around 1999 or so. This was the phone that I had, again, around 1999. And you know what? When I got rid of this phone, this was the Motorola Vader phone, the V8160, I think it was. And it was like a battle just to get it, because I had bought another phone the year before. This phone was awesome. It had a little web browser in it, one of those WAP browsers, and then you could hook it up to your computer with a cable and use it like a modem. So you could just dial out on it. And I could connect to my internet provider. I could connect back home to my house. It was like it did everything. I loved that phone. And now this thing is just this small. So it's really cool. All right. Roger P. wants to know, what is the Jelly 2? That is what this is. This is the Jelly 2. This is a fully functional Android 10 smartphone. It runs all the apps in a tiny little screen, and it's super small. And I think it's totally cool. Oh, Ralph says there's a video. Oh, good. I'll look at that. So Unihertz has a YouTube channel. Let me check that out real quick. And then I got to take the dog out and get on a call in half an hour. Let's see.
Hi, I'm Tiffany.
Let's see. Okay, so let me search. So they got a YouTube channel with like 5,000 subscribers. And let me see if there's a button we can adjust on it. Setting up programmable shortcuts. Here we go. And they got a nice fancy video here. I mean, they must be making enough money to continue like developing these things. Their video is looking pretty slick. All right, let's see how we do that. Set up your personalized shortcut. So you go into settings and smart assistants. Okay, so let's try that. So we're going to go to settings. And we're going to go down to smart assistants. I don't have that on my phone. Settings, intelligent assistants is what I have. Okay, so that's what we want. And then we go over, well, that's cool. They got a flip to mute option. And let's see what they say to do here. Smart assistants or intelligent assistants, and go to shortcut settings here. Use of PTT key. After using the function, smart key will be turned off. So I guess if it's on, it turns the key off. That's what it sounds like to me. And then I can, oh, I see, then I can choose what it does. So a short press. Oh, so I could load up a different app. How about that? Oh, that's cool. So I can have it load any app I want. So I can just have it go to YouTube when I do a short press. Long press, open flashlight. Double press, screenshot. So you've got 3 different operations you can apply to the key. So now if I do a short press, YouTube comes up. And if I do a double press, it takes a screenshot. And if I hold it down, flashlight. Well, that's cool. So it looks like you can't use like a push to talk thing with it because it doesn't work inside the app, it appears. Interesting. All right. Well, this is fun. I think I'm gonna get to this one next. I think this is kind of a neat thing. So I will take some pictures with it. I will charge it up first, see how the battery life is on it. But it's cool. And you know what's neat about it is that it is a it's a fully functional Android phone. So anything that you can do on Android, you can do on here. For carrier compatibility, they are claiming that it works with all of the major US carriers. So AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile. Although there's a guy in the review section who says that it doesn't work with AT&T. But then he's got an update. So let's see what his review says here. It says, all right, so what he's saying, AT&T will suspend your service if you put your SIM card in and you have to call them to have it restored. Huh. So we may put that caveat in there. So it is capable of working with AT&T, but it looks like this guy's having some trouble with it. And it is available internationally as well. So that is the Jelly phone. So yeah, I'll get to it in a little bit. I have a feeling my daughter is going to love this little phone. I'll let you know what her reaction is to it, my oldest daughter. She wants a phone really badly. And I said, you have an iPad. You talk to your friends on your iPad already, so what do you need a phone for? And right now I don't have it, hooked up to a carrier. Okay. Good. All right. Well, I am going to go take my dog for a walk and enjoy the afternoon. But, Mark Smith wants to know, does it have a hotspot function? I don't know. Oops. Hotspot. I don't think it does, unless it's like a standard Android thing. It does. Yep, it's got a hotspot. So it'll work as a hotspot. Pretty cool stuff. It's tiny. Connor wants to know, am I giving the phone to my daughter? No, she's not getting this phone. I'm going to sell this phone to one of you when I'm done reviewing it. So put your requests in, whoever wants it. So yeah, because usually what I do is this one I bought, so I buy these and then resell them after I review it. So it'll be less than it costs new. So there you go. All right, well I wish I got to this one earlier. So we're going to review this one. I'll do that one. We're going to do the Motorola with the AR thing. We got a lot to look at. So stay tuned. We will have more to come from my basement lair here. But I like the size of this one. Yeah, if I wasn't like, there probably was a time in which this phone would have probably had more value in the sense that the input of text is really challenging. So when I had my Motorola Vader phone back in the day, I made calls on it. We didn't send text messages, even though I think it was capable of it. You mostly use the phone as a phone, which this would function well as. It's just hard to type on it. So that's it. So all the luck. Send me an email at Lon.TV if you are interested. But yeah, it's cool. It's well built. Like it feels like a nicely constructed phone. And that's the one thing with with this Unihertz. Like this is the kind of stuff they make. They make these really unique, niche-y phones that fit not the general marketplace, but people that are looking for something like this. So, and we'll have more on both of these coming up soon. All right. Well, everybody, I will talk to you all in the very near future. I'm going to go take the dog for a walk and make a quick phone call and have some dinner and go to bed and repeat tomorrow. So we have the review of the iPad up, the low-cost iPad. So that one is on right now. And if you want to watch it ad-free, you can go over to my Amazon page at Lon.TV/Amazon shop. So all of my review videos, for the most part, show up on Amazon ad-free. So you can watch there without ads, or you can watch on YouTube with ads. Or if you're a premium, you don't see ads. And so I've got a Plex video in the works, and I've got a review of a Buffalo NAS device coming up. So we've got all sorts of stuff going on. So yeah, check me out and subscribe and follow. If you're not following me, do follow me. And Roger P says in the Amazon chat that he has never heard of the Jelly 2 phone before, but now you have. Yeah, it's a neat little phone. They've been around for a while, this company. They've been making these little phones for a while. I last looked at the we looked at the Unihertz. We looked at the Titan, and we looked at the other one, which was the Atom. And the Atom was a little ruggedized version of this one. So I bet you there will be an Atom 2, which will be a rugged version of this. So be on the lookout for that, but this is cool. All right, I will talk to you all very soon, so have a wonderful afternoon. And I will talk to you very soon. And Eric's Variety Channel, you got in right at the buzzer. So good to see you. And yeah, we'll have a review coming up on the Jelly 2 shortly, because I think I have a few more things to do with it, but I think we've got enough to start with already. So, all right, I will catch you all next time, and I will see you on the flip side. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.